Last episode we stormed to the top of the Bundesliga in our Champions League group, and Benjamin Sesko started to show the world that he's one of the best young talents in football. And today, with the transfer window about to be open, I think I've got room for one more signing to take this team to the next level. But as ever, if you're enjoying the series so far, please feel free to like and subscribe, and let's get into today's episode. And of course, as always, we are starting out with your comments. You should sign Omar Soleil from Salzburg for a realistic signing. Cocu from Benfica is a great player too, to replace Xavi Simons when his loan finishes. Ahamadou Onana from Everton would be a beast in midfield for Leipzig too, and Amad Diallo from Manchester United, convert him into a cam, would tear it up as well. Yes, so I spoke last episode about me potentially needing to bolster my defence, and with Soleil being another young French wonderkid, with him being 6'4", plus presumably with him having all of the physical stats and the sprint speed that I need to try and fit into this high line, gegenpressing style, he may well be a very interesting signing, and who knows, might be the long-term replacement for the 31-year-old Willy Orban. Cocu is another man on the list whom I think many of you have recommended, with him being able to play both in central midfield, central attacking midfield, and central defensive midfield, plus with him only being 22 years of age and 82 rated, he can certainly come in and bolster my midfield. However, with his asking price being around £59.4 million, and with us only being left with 38 million, I think he might just be out of our budget right now. Ahamadou Onana is another man who has the potential to be an absolute beast in the centre of midfield, and he did turn into just that in the Everton career mode, so much so that he did become my club captain. And whilst yes, perhaps he is playing for a Premier League team at the moment, I'm sure he would consider moving to a team playing in the Champions League and fighting for top spot in the Bundesliga, a slight step up. And finally, Amad Diallo, yes, he's more naturally a right winger, and obviously I play a far more narrow 4-2-2-2 formation, but he can play in that cam position, and with him being 21 years of age and presumably having some pretty decent physical and technical stats across the board, let's see what my scouts have got to say once I get the reports back for him. You should give Sival more playing time because he can naturally replace Xavier Slager if he ever leaves to a bigger team. Now, to be fair, technically Nicolas Sival is my worst rated central midfielder, especially with the likes of Holman, who is a new signing in the summer, Haidara, and of course the main man Xavier Slager, clearly all having more to offer right now. However, with the Austrian only being 22 years of age, with him having the versatility both to play in a central midfield position and a central defensive midfield position, and potentially having that potential to become a special player, perhaps I have been a little bit harsh on him, with him only appearing twice in the Bundesliga and 6 times in all competitions this season. I can assure you, as the games start to rack up and as we start to head into the second half of the season, I will try and do everything I can to try and see if I can find a place in my starting 11 for this man for the foreseeable future. You can read the name Sesko like Šeško, as I am from Slovenia. You can also sign one young goalkeeper like Karnaseki or Chevalier, and perhaps sign a new central midfielder or central defensive midfielder like Edison from Atalanta or Thuram. Also, can you give Šeško a better number like 9, 10 or 11, because 30 is just not good enough for him. So yes, let's start with this young man, just 20 years of age, but he is already lighting up not just the Bundesliga, but the Champions League as well. He's got 10 goals in the league, 3 in the Champions League, and he's got 15 in just 17 appearances in all competitions. What a start to the season for the young Slovenian. And yes, you are right, such a good performance warrants a much better number, so we're going to move him all the way down, not to number 9 because that is one for Yusuf Poulsen, but we are going to turn him into our brand new number 10 here at RB Leipzig, and hopefully this new number will give him the confidence to continue his fine form as the season progresses. Speaking of the goalkeepers though, yes, that is certainly a position that I definitely have my eye on. Gualachi, he is supposed to be in his prime years, but he really hasn't performed at the high level that I was hoping for. He's only kept 3 clean sheets so far in 19 appearances in all competitions, and with both of these young men being 10 and 11 years his junior respectively, and both of them being just 2 points behind him in their overall rating, I think long term one of these two young players could well be the answer for me between the sticks as this career mode continues. However, returning to the more attacking areas of the pitch, with the likes of Dani Olmo and Eljif Elmas absolutely lighting up all competitions so far this season, in particular the 24-year-old North Macedonian who's chipped in with 8 goals and 4 assists in all competitions so far this season. As you can see, he has usurped the young Dutch international Xavi Simons in our starting 11, and it seems like PSG are not very happy about it, as apparently they've been in touch with my chief executive demanding to know why he's not playing and suggesting that they will withdraw his loan spell if he doesn't get more game time. To be honest though, I think the young man can have absolutely no one to blame but himself. He has had ample opportunities. He's played 16 times in all competitions. He's only scored once and he's only assisted once. And if you look at his overall ratings and his average ratings across all of the competitions, he really is not firing on all cylinders this season. And with us currently top of our group in the Champions League, needing just one more point to qualify with 2 games remaining, and with us facing off against the English giants Manchester City, unfortunately for the young Dutchman, I am going to be needing my best players playing at their absolute peak if I want to try and see if I can get that all-elusive point here to secure our path to the knockout stages. And that means that in spite of some fatigue ripping through my starting 11, it is a return to that strongest starting 11 with the exception of Dedic coming in at right back. You can see that the likes of Dani Olmo and Benjamin Sesko perhaps won't be able to last the 90 minutes, but hopefully they can continue their fine form and offer me everything they possibly can while they're still on the pitch. So here we go then, big game back in Germany. We managed to hold Manchester City to a point courtesy of a late equaliser. Can we try and see if we can do the same thing here today and secure our path to the knockout stages? Simakan floats it right the way over to Raum on the left-hand side. That is a lovely ball to the young German, and he manages to skip away from a couple of different challenges, tries to turn it around the corner, but Alvarez with a really good challenge now, and he can try and see if he can burst down this right-hand side. But he plays it back inside for Bernardo Silva, and Raum is held up a little bit once again by Alvarez, and now he can streak away in green grass he's got to run into, and he manages to just go past Raum again. He's having a bit of a shocker at the beginning of this game, and Kevin De Bruyne lines up a shot, and in the end it's straight at the goalkeeper for a Manchester City corner. It will be that man, Kevin De Bruyne, though, to take the resulting corner, and it will be a short one into Bernardo Silva again, twisting away. We just can't seem to challenge Manchester City at the moment. Rodri right on the edge of the box. They're playing some really good football here in front of their home fans here. They know they need to win this game if they want a chance of topping this Champions League group, but at the moment, we have managed to keep them at bay, but they continue their attack wave after wave. But Willi Orban, the captain, with a big challenge, and we can bring the ball out of defence into Schlager. Really nicely done, and now Dani Olmo can go down this left-hand side. He's going to try and play a ball into the channel, into Sesko. Lovely done, into Openda, and it's a one-handed save from Ederson. That was a really good opportunity to take the lead. Well, 25 minutes on the clock here, and it's been a fairly tight affair so far. Neither team, aside from the one opportunity we had earlier, really able to carve out any clear-cut opportunities as Openda tried to play that one round the corner, but didn't manage to do so. And now City can try and see if they can hit us on the counter-attack with Rodri into Bernardo Silva. Kevin De Bruyne right through the channel into Alvarez, and Simakan's going to frantically see if he can come back to try and chase him. He does do enough. Guillaci with a one-handed save, but it falls to Gaia, and Guillaci cannot get the follow-up, and frustratingly for me, for absolutely nothing, Manchester City take the lead. Well, I thought we'd done enough to hold them up after Simakan showed his pace to get back on side, but frustratingly, Guillaci just palmed it straight out into the path of Gaia, the left-back. And it was a poor save on the rebound. Too easy for Gaia. 1-0 City. Orban to try and bring it out of defence. Finds Raum, and Raum under a lot of pressure from this heavy Manchester City press. And he's lost it to Bernardo Silva. And now we find ourselves in a really tricky spot once again. But fortunately enough, Raum just about manages to come across. He makes amends for his earlier mistake. Dedic now, the right back, tries to go past Phil Foden. Doesn't have the pace or the acceleration to do so, but does manage to get inside. And he's running into a bit of a cul-de-sac. And once again, this time it's Alvarez with a challenge. But Orban comes across. My word, we are living life on the edge here right on the stroke of half-time. Well, our determination to play out from the back, but that high Manchester City press is really starting to hurt us, and we've got to make sure that we don't do anything silly here at the beginning of the second half, as we still have a chance to get ourselves back in the game. Walker down the line into Bernardo Silva. Kevin De Bruyne picks that one up and plays the ball back into Bernardo Silva. Really nicely done, and now Alvarez can try and go down the right-hand side. Orban comes across, though. Clearly he's heard the rumours about me potentially looking to replace him with a long-term replacement, and he's been absolutely brilliant at the back so far, as Sesko is going to try and play this one right over to the left-hand side. It's a wonderful ball into the path of Raum. He's not going to have the pace. He is going to have the pace and the awareness to get past Kyle Walker, and he's going to try and float a ball into the box looking for a Openda, but Ake just got his head on it beforehand. Sesko heads it down into Holmand, who just drills it down onto the floor, and it's easy for Ederson in the end. Raum once again, this man has been rightfully or wrongly heavily involved so far in this game, and he's played a nice little ball into the pocket of space into Schlager. Now Šeško has it once again, twisting away from a couple of challenges, plays a lovely ball into Openda, and Openda just puts it wide. Well, that was a brilliant opportunity, and one that we didn't take. We needed to, but now it's time to try and see if I can take off those fatigue players, bring on some fresh blood, and see if I can inject some sort of creativity into this attack. Rodri into Kevin De Bruyne, playing out from the back really nicely inside their own half here. Kevin De Bruyne has it once again, but it's Sivald, the man, on as a substitute who I'm trying to give more game time to. We want it back. In the end, though, the pass from him forward wasn't good enough, and now Kevin De Bruyne can bring it away into Bernardo Silva, who comes into the centre. Ruben Diaz looks for a ball back into the channel to that man. Lovely stuff from Manchester City. They've completely opened up my defence at will. Kyle Walker, the speedster, into the box, straight at the goalkeeper, and he just parries it straight out into the path of Haaland. And of course, that man will make no mistake from that area. Manchester City, inside the 6-yard box, get their second goal of the game, and they now lead 2-0. Well, I've got to be honest, they absolutely cut through me beautifully. But Guillaci again with more poor goalkeeping. He could have palmed it anywhere, but instead it was straight into the path of Haaland. and you just cannot give that man the ball in that area. Easy for him, easy for City, 2-0. Bernardo Silva here for Manchester City once again. Hartman on as a substitute with a really good challenge. And now Xavi Simons, he has an opportunity here to try and stake his claim back in the starting 11, but he's going nowhere fast there with the ball. Simakan plays it back out wide to Baumgartner, though, on the right-hand side. Dedic picks it up again, runs it out of play, and that pretty much has been the story of our game so far. Poor all round. And as the referee calls time on the game, Pep Guardiola shakes my hand. Just slightly different levels between the two teams in the end. Manchester City just that step above us so far in our development. That man Haaland scoring the winner to help Manchester City to a 2-0 victory at full time. Well, luckily enough for me, with one game remaining, our fate is still in our hands to try and top the group, but it does mean we are going to have to go and play against young boys and make sure that we get the win to secure our spot top of the group. The bigger problem for me, though, is once again the performances of the Hungarian Peter Galaci. He's supposed to be that experienced figure between the sticks for me to have a calming influence on my defence, but such a terrible display against Manchester City, essentially just gifting them 2 goals by palming the ball out straight into the path of their attackers, really just shows that potentially this is an area of my defence that I really need to improve quickly. But for now, though, turning our attention back to domestic football and the Bundesliga. You can see after 13 games we have built up a 4-point lead at the top of the table to second place Borussia Dortmund. And of course, who else would it be but the team in yellow away from home, whom we're going to be facing off against next. It's going to be one of the toughest games of the season, but it's going to be another pivotal game that is potentially going to shape the course of this title fight. Can we get the win? Can we get the 3 points here today? Let's find out. And as for my starting 11, there are 3 major changes to the team that lost to Manchester City. Henriks comes in at right back in place of Dedic, who drops to the bench. Hartman also comes in at left back in place of Raum. But the biggest talking point is that I am fulfilling my promise of giving this man Sivald a little bit more game time. He starts in the centre of the park for me as Hallman drops to the bench. Well, this is our opportunity once again to really put a marker down, assert our authority here in the Bundesliga, and see if we can carve out a 7-point gap at the top to our domestic rivals. Marlon here for Dortmund inside the opening 10 minutes. Schüller picks it up and goes central into Özcan. Özcan now is looking for some sort of option. He finds Emre Can now, who's got a nice little pocket of space to try and burst into, but Simakan aggressively defending his line and cuts off the opportunity straight away and plays a nice ball now into Benjamin Šeško. He can try and play it forward, but in the end he's cut back out from Emre Can. I've got to be honest, I feel like this is going to be the story of the game, but they're 3-on-1 here. It's Marlon who's being chased down by Orban. Orban, though, the Hungarian, the leader of men, comes across. He gives away a foul in the process. He was the last man. We're very fortunate not to give away a red card, but for me, I actually thought that was a fairly decent challenge, but frustratingly, now Dortmund have got a free kick in a very dangerous position that Julian Brandt is going to step up to take it. Goes for goal. It's off the bar. My word, what a chance. Brandt has it again now into Emre Can. Borussia Dortmund just overloading us in the attacking areas, and we can't seem to deal with it at the moment as Gualaci straight at him, beats it away for a corner. And it's the first one that Dortmund will have, and they're going to throw it into the edge of the 6-yard box. Hummels with a big header. In the end, it just rebounded off one of my defenders, and we got away with one there. But now Lewis Openda has the opportunity to try and bring this ball forward. He's got the pace here to burst away from Schüller. He's going to try and see if he can get into the box, but his last touch was just a little bit too heavy. And in the end, the goalkeeper got there ahead of him. Into Simakan. End-to-end game here in Dortmund as we go and give the ball away right into midfield. Emre Can, who has just been in the right place at the right time, seemingly here in the opening 45 minutes. He's been absolutely everywhere. Özcan now has it. Plays it down the channel into Marlon once again. Dortmund flooding men forward here. Marlon manages to just try and see if he can find his way past my defenders. He does. Into Julian Brandt. It's Orban, though, who blocks it off. Brilliant defending. Šeško now into the path of Openda. Can we try and see if we can hit him on the counter-attack? Openda's just waiting for options up ahead of him. Tries to play it across to Dani Olmo. Wasn't the right ball, but Hartman wins it back. And now Šeško has it again. He's looking for his striking partner. Openda manages to find him. Openda lines up a strike on his left. Forces the keeper into a hard save. Well, it's headed down now into the path of Nemecha. Simakan comes across to challenge him, though. Really nice defending from the young Frenchman. Plays it into the path of that man, Sivald. Into Dani Olmo. Xavi Slager now over into the path of Hartman. The left back to strike just puts it wide. Well, my word, I am struggling to catch my breath here in the opening 45 minutes. What a start to this game. End-to-end stuff. Both teams potentially could be about 2-2 at the moment. But somehow, some way, the game remains locked at 0-0. Are one of these two teams going to be able to finally break the deadlock here in the second half? Hartman on the left-hand side goes past one of the Borussia Dortmund attackers and goes past the second one. He's going to lay it into the path of Dani Olmo, who has been uncharacteristically quiet, but finds a pass into the box, into Benjamin Sesko, and of course the man of the moment, the man in absolutely electric form, adds to his ever-growing goal-scoring tally here as he puts us 1-0 up. Well, Dani Olmo has been anonymous so far in the first half, but he stepped up in the second, laid it on a plate for Sesko, and how many times has he scored that sort of goal so far this season? Absolutely brilliant from the young Slovenian. He fires us into a 1-0 lead against Dortmund. Brandt tries to fire it right over my defence into the path of Marlon. It's a really good ball, and Marlon uses his skills to get away from my left back, but Orban comes across with a crunching challenge and wins it perfectly just when I needed him to. And now Schlager's going to try and play this one down into the channel, into Sesko, who picks it up really nicely. Lovely first touch, and he manages to drift back into the centre, but he's just held up by Schuler. In the end, it's good defending from Dortmund, but we've got a free kick. And it's a free kick that Dani Olmo is going to take. I'm not quite confident enough from this angle to go for goals, so instead I'm going to try and see if I can just float this one, into the box. It is into the box, but it's headed away, of course, who else by Emre Can, but Sesko will win the ball back, plays it into Simakan, back out wide to Hartmann. Hartmann takes it really nicely, goes central into Schlager. Schlager tried to play it around the corner into a Pender, but it was blocked off, and once again Dortmund get the ball clear. Henriks, look at the pressure that Dortmund are starting to put on him. They're really trying to overload us in attacking areas as Gualachi just boots the ball clear here into Hartmann. Hartmann nods it down into Dani Olmo, back round the corner into Schlager. Now we've got the opportunity to try and counter-attack as Dortmund committed so many men forward, and of course it's the man of the moment, Sesko, to drive into the box, looks for the cut back for a Pender, couldn't quite reach him, but we do manage to get a fortunate corner, and it's one that Schlager is going to take. And once again I'm going to try the tried and trusted tactic of floating it into the box here. Look for the big header, Simakan, it will reach Orban, who tried a header. It was an audacious header, tried to just loop it over the defence and the goalkeeper, but Kobel was one step ahead of him and saved it easily. Edic on as a substitute, turns around the corner, finds Elmas, really nicely done from the North Macedonian. He's got a ball in here if he can find it into Hallman, who's just straight offside. Well, there's about 10 minutes remaining on the clock here for Dortmund to try and see if they can find a way back into this game, as Adeyemi's got the pace to get away from my right back. Round though on as a sub, heads it clear. Schlager also heads it away, but only out as far as Uzcan. Dortmund now starting to ramp up the pressure here. They continue into my box. Julian Brandt has it, just does enough, plays it into Haller. Oh, it's a horrific challenge from Orban, and we've given away a penalty at the worst possible time, and we can have absolutely no complaints whatsoever. My captain, my leader of men, in the 85th minute gets a yellow card for his troubles, and he can certainly, I mean, that is absolutely horrendous. Made no attempt to play the ball, completely took out the defender, totally mistimed challenge. I am furious, and now Dortmund have a wonderful opportunity here with 5 minutes remaining on the clock as the fans look on in anticipation to try and see if they can level up the scores here. This is Gualachi's moment, and he does not take it. Sent the wrong way. Haller, on as a substitute, levels up the scores here for Dortmund as they celebrate wildly. It's so frustrating for me, as especially in the second half, I think we've been the better of the two teams, but it is the fine margins that make such a difference here today. Hallman now into Poulsen. Poulsen into Sesko. This will be a wonderful chance to try and get ourselves back in the lead, but it's a brilliant save from the goalkeeper. Well, we are deep into stoppage time here. Surely this is going to be the last remaining chance of the game. It's going to be Schlager to float this one back in, looking for Christoph Baumgartner, headed away by Emre Can. It is going to come back out to Schlager though. Elmas can't get on the loose ball. In the end, it's cleared away by the Dortmund defence as the referee blows for full time. Well, two fairly evenly matched teams hold each other to a draw here in the final whistle. As it finishes at full time, Borussia Dortmund 1, Leipzig 1. There can be no doubt that some heroics from the Borussia Dortmund goalkeeper certainly left us frustrated at the end of the game. But one man though who is not letting that frustration get to him is this man, Benjamin Sesko. Continuing his fine form, 13 games in the Bundesliga, he sits top of the goal scoring charts with 11 goals. And I've got to be honest, I'm not even considering him as an exciting prospect anymore. I think he is the real deal for right now. It's unfortunate though that his single solitary goal was not enough to seal the 3 points as we miss a big opportunity to put some distance between ourselves and the chasing pack, as Bayern Munich, after a very tough start, are now starting to breathe down our necks, just 2 points behind us. But it is all systems go in the Champions League, as after beating Young Boys in our final group stage game 2-1, we beat the group favourites Manchester City to top spot. We avoid what would have been a huge clash against Real Madrid in the round of 16, and instead we're drawn against the Italian giants Inter Milan. Elsewhere though, after battering Hoffenheim 3-0 back in the Bundesliga and securing another 3-0 win, this time away from home against Werder Bremen, we are heading into the start of the January transfer window, top of the Bundesliga after playing 16 games, and we've now managed to secure a 4-point gap to the chasing pack of Bayern Munich. And with us having £38 million still left remaining in the budget, I think we have room for one more player to try and see if we can lift the spirits even higher here as we head into the second half of the season. Now overall, looking at the squad, it isn't really clear-cut exactly where I would want to improve. My initial thought was potentially at left back with this man Raum. However, it seems like his performances have been absolutely brilliant in the first half of the season according to the stats, as he is the assist leader in the Bundesliga with 6 in 14 games. And whilst yes, some might argue that defensively, surprisingly in the Bundesliga, we've actually been pretty decent, only conceding 12 goals in 16 games. Personally, at 82 rated and 33 years of age, and due to his performances in some of the games that I've played, I am still not convinced that Peter Gulácsi is the long-term option for me in between the sticks. And so with that in mind, I think it is now time to begin our search for a brand new goalkeeper. And we are looking to one of your suggestions in particular. He's a young 22-year-old Frenchman who has now established himself as the #1 goalkeeper at Lille. And he's someone who is now starting to come through the ranks of the French international team and wanting to make the next step in his career. That is right. It is the 22-year-old Lucas Chevalier who will join RB Leipzig in a swap deal for our backup goalkeeper Blaswich and £27.5 million. Now some might say he's not an immediate improvement on Gulácsi in between the sticks, but with him being 11 years his junior, I firmly believe he is the right long-term option at the club, and he is someone who is going to firmly establish himself as our long-term #1 to hopefully displace the 33-year-old Hungarian as the career mode progresses. One problem we do have though, with PSG seemingly being frustrated with an apparent lack of game time for this man Xavi Simons, they have had enough as the January transfer window has opened. They've decided to recall him from his loan spell, leaving me with just 3 central attacking midfielders to fight over 2 spots in my starting 11. And with me spending almost £30 million on a brand new goalkeeper, leaving me with only £10 million left to spend, unfortunately I am not going to have the budget to try and replace him with some of the big name suggestions. And so with that in mind, as you can see, I did try and go a completely different way and see if I could bring in another smaller name suggestion in Amad Diallo for a fee that I could actually afford. And whilst Manchester United were more than happy to accept it, frustratingly when it came down to the contract negotiations between ourselves and the young man, frustratingly for me, he was not willing to do the same, which means that I'm just going to have to hope what I've got on the books at the moment is going to be enough to try and secure that all-important Bundesliga title this season. However, perhaps in the worst possible news that I could have received this transfer window, the man of the moment, the man who has lit up the Bundesliga so far this season, of course, has been approached by no one other than the German giants Bayern Munich. Frustratingly for me, it seems like they've matched his £38 million release clause. Now obviously I'm sure every young player playing in the Bundesliga would like to make the next step up in their career and join Bayern Munich. However, with him only being 20 years of age and with him still having his entire career to play for, I do not think now is the right time for him to make the move. I think he's still got so much left to offer this club, and so I am going to do absolutely everything I can in my power to offer him a brand new contract where I try and remove the release clause that Bayern Munich have managed to get their grubby little mitts on, but along with a nice little salary bump, also give him the assurances that should another big team come in for him in the summer, if he continues his fine form, I will not stand in his way, and hopefully we can get even more money for the young Slovenian. It's something that he is more than happy to accept. Fortunately enough for me, it means talks between the two clubs have broken down, and whilst I can have no doubts that some big teams are still going to come in for him in the summer, and surely I'm going to have to let him go, at least it means I have secured his services for the next 6 months. However, with the transfer talk over, it is finally time to get down to the football, and it is finally time to offer one of our brand new signings his first opportunity to show the RB Leipzig fans what he can do in the famous white shirt as we face off at the Red Bull Arena against Stuttgart. Yes, that's right, it means there is one major change from my usual starting 11. Chevalier will come in goal in between the sticks, and this is his opportunity to stake his claim as our #1 goalkeeper. The snow is falling here in Germany, but that is not going to stop the football here as Openda takes the ball beautifully round the defender. He's going to try and see if he can float a ball here into the back post, looking for Danny Olmo. Isn't quite able to find him. Schlager will get the nod on the head though. Seewald wins it back, and Seewald will strike from distance. Oh my goodness, that is absolutely incredible from the young man. He's coming into the starting 11 after being suggested to do so by you, and my word, he is repaying that faith with immediate effect. Look at this strike. He's about 25 yards out, and he absolutely buries it into the top left-hand corner. That is pinpoint perfect. The keeper had no chance. 1-0 here inside the opening 10 minutes. Javier Schlager. Down the line into Openda, who takes it really nicely. And Openda now, once again, is going to try and see if he can drive into the box here. Cuts it back, looking for Šeško. It will find his feet out to Elmas, who tries to bundle his way through. And in the end, Trap just about bounces on the loose ball. But my word, what an electric start it's been here inside the opening 15 minutes for RB Leipzig. Simikan goes all the way out to the right-hand side to Henriks, who takes it on. Plays it short into Dani Olmo. Lovely ball into Elmas, who's picked up a really nice pocket of space. Cuts it back into the goal scorer, the man of the moment, Sivald, who manages to wriggle away from a couple of challenges. Plays it back into that man, Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo goes out to the right-hand side into Elmas. Floats it back in. Looks for the head of Openda. That is the best build-up play you will see all day. A diving header from Lewis Openda to double our lead here at home, 2-0. Well, we were patient. We didn't panic. We just kept on probing and probing and probing. And in the end, it was a lovely low ball into the box, and Lewis Openda with the diving header right into the near post. Too powerful for the goalkeeper, and much to my delight, it's 2-0. Out wide to Chahibi. Garcia has it once again and plays it down the left-hand side, and now they've got an opportunity here for the first time in this game to get into the box, but Simikan with a huge challenge. That man is just growing in confidence every single game, and now Elmas to play it across. I was looking for the ball into Openda. It wasn't the right one, over to Šeško. And now they can try and see if they can hit us on the counter-attack as Garcia manages to get there ahead of Henriks on the right-hand side. Goes into the box now, but Henriks comes back across. Good recovery defending from the young man. Goes into Dani Olmo. Dani Olmo, who once again has been fairly quiet, and he loses the ball in a dangerous position to Donny van der Beek, and it's played through into Garcia here. Simikan again with a huge block right in the nick of time. Brilliant defending from the Frenchman. Dani Olmo. Oh, once again, Dani Olmo has lost it here. And after starting off the season in fine form, he has just let that form slip a little bit here. As Chaibi now into the box on the volley. It's blocked off by Simikan again, but falls to Goetze. And Chevalier with a wonderful save, showing why it was the right decision to start him. And it's going to be a corner here that man, Mario Goetze, is going to take. Floats it into the box, looking for the header. Tuta. Sivard with a massive block. Well, after dominating the first part of the game, Frankfurt started to find their feet in the last 5 or 10 minutes in. We've just got to make sure that we remain calm and composed and professional, and we get the job done here as Šeško now tries to bring the ball forward, lays it on a plate for Openda with his right. That is brilliant, and it's a lovely little toe poke into the top right-hand corner. The power that man generated, unbelievable stuff, to give us a 3-0 lead here inside the opening 5 minutes of the second half. Brilliant build-up play yet again, and the two strikers in form combining once more. Šeško laying it on a plate, getting the assist this time into the path of Openda. And look at this for a finish. Just toe poked it into the top right-hand corner. The keeper had no chance. 3-0. Simikan again wins it high, aggressively defending. That man is in absolutely terrific form here as Dani Olmo takes it on himself and just drags the shot way wide. Van der Beek, lovely ball right into the box here into Garcia, who took it really nicely. Orban though with a big challenge, making amends for giving away that penalty against Borussia Dortmund. Now Šeško has it once again, plays it out to the left-hand side into the path of Dani Olmo, cuts it back into the path of Hartmann on as a sub. Hartmann lays it back into the path of the Spaniard, across to Openda looking for his hat-trick, just blocked off in the dying seconds. What a brilliant interception and challenge there from the Frankfurt defence. And now Mbolo can bring this one forward into our box here as they try and see if they can hit us on the counter-attack. Back into Donny van der Beek. It's the goalkeeper once again with a big save. It's going to be a corner here. Mario Goetze is going to take it. They just have not let their heads drop, despite them being 3-0 down at Frankfurt. But it's headed away by Dedic, and now Hartmann will try and get on the loose ball. Nauf manages to get there ahead of him. Nauf does a really good job of getting away from the left-back, but Dani Olmo wins it. And now Hartmann can try and see if he can streak down this left-hand side. He's managed to go past their right-back here. Has he got the pace to continue his run? Plays it into the path of Šeško. Šeško looks for Openda. Openda on his left. What a save from Trapp. So close to getting his third. So close to getting that hat-trick, but perhaps it's just not meant to be. It's floated into the box though, and oh my word, Baumgartner with the head off the bar, so close to giving us our fourth of this game. Simikan keeps the ball alive though. Sivald out to Dani Olmo, floated across, looking low, and my word, what a ball right across the 6-yard box, but no one could get on the end of it. Dedic with the throw, back into Baumgartner, takes it on, floats it back in, looking for Dani Olmo with the bicycle kick. Got it all wrong though in the end, goes way wide. Simikan into Baumgartner once again. We're going to try and see if we can hit them on the counter-attack. That's a lovely ball into Openda, who takes it in his stride, takes it on his left, hits it with his right, and he finally gets his hat-trick. The man of this game, Lewis Openda, gets his third of the game. He gets our fourth. He kicks the corner flag in celebration. That man has been on absolute fire in this game. Once again though, it was laid on a plate for him by his striking partner Šeško, but he still had all the hard work to do. Dummy dropped the shoulder away from the defender, gave himself some space, and absolutely smashed a strike into the top left-hand corner. 4-0. Out to Nauf. Is this going to be one last opportunity for Frankfurt to try and see if they can restore some pride here for the travelling fans? It's a really good opportunity, but once again, the goalkeeper makes the save to keep a clean sheet on his debut as the referee blows for full time. That man, Lewis Openda, will be taking home the match ball. His hat-trick and a wonder goal from Zivard in the 7th minute of the game is enough to give us a thumping 4-0 victory at full time. Lucas Chevalier keeping a clean sheet on his debut. Our potential midfield superstar Nicolas Zivard scoring an absolute worldie. And our striker Lewis Openda not to be outshone by Benjamin Sesko, getting a hat-trick, helping extend our lead at the top of the Bundesliga to 7 points and helping us end this episode on a magnificent high. That is that for today. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you again next time.